Ya Baraka,
Ya Baraka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
YHWH,
YHWH,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
YHWH, Panyawa al Yak,
Panyawa al Yak,
Yachanka,
Yachanka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yasha'ayah, Panyawa al Yak,
Panyawa al Yak,
Yasham,
Yasham,
Laka Shalom,
Laka Shalom,
Yahweh Bahasham,
Yahweh Bahasham,
Yahweh Shah,
Yahweh Shah,
Barak Rapah,
Barak Rapah,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yahweh Bahasham,
Yahweh Bahasham,
Yahweh Shah,
Yahweh Shah,
Barak Rapah,
Barak Rapah,
YASHARAHLA,
YASHARAHLA.
Ya Baraka,
Ya Baraka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
YHWH,
YHWH,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yahweh, Panyawa al Yak,
Panyawa al Yak,
Yachanka,
Yachanka,
Yahweh, Yasha'ayah,
Yasha'ayah,
Panyawa al Yak,
Panyawa al Yak,
Yasham,
Yasham,
Laka Shalom,
Laka Shalom,
Yahweh Bahasham,
Yahweh Bahasham,
Yahweh Shah,
Yahweh Shah,
Barak Rapah,
Barak Rapah,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yahweh Bahasham,
Yahweh Bahasham,
Yahweh Shah,
Yahweh Shah,
Barak Rapah,
Barak Rapah,
YASHARAHLA,
YASHARAHLA.
Amadu Mapanya Makodum. Mark chapter 12 and verse 29. Yahweh answered them, the first of all commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Shema YASHARAHLA, Yahweh AHLAHAYANAWA, Yahweh ACHAAD, Aman.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, family. What's going on? Chat. Can y'all hear me over here? Mic check. Shalom, big sis. Fresh flints. Nah, I got a funny story on that.
Shalom.
Okay. Yeah, Cohen, I'm still waiting on that precept, yo. But the thumb blessed me with these freaking what's these LED lights? These blue lights.
Is that out there?
Yeah, these are my prescribed ones. Last week, I was just telling AHLAHAYANAWA the story. Last week I was supposed to get some glasses. If y'all been seeing me teaching and reading, like I squint my eyes a lot and I overly strain my eyes when I read, so my eyes get blurry. So last week, in the midst of me purchasing new pairs of glasses, because I broke mine, I laid down mine by accident. I just broke it. So last week of me purchasing, as soon as I was about to purchase a new pair of glasses, T-Mobile calls me, and it's the fraud department. But before T-Mobile calls me, I see 2 notifications that through my messages saying that a certain store bought 2 items. I'm like, what the hell? So like one of the items was like 190 something, the other one was like 180 something, and T-Mobile calls me. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, not right now. So they stole over $300 something out of my account as soon as I was about to purchase a new pair of glasses, which pissed me off. So I had to put that on the pause, but the thug came into the rescue. It was crazy. I'm just trying to see. That's all. They hacking my card. Come on, man. T-Mobile. I'm at TD Bank. TD Bank called me. Salakia. T-Mobile's my carrier, but TD Bank called me and let me know what was happening in the midst of me about to purchase some new glasses. So these weren't prescribed, just for the lighting. But what's going on, y'all? How was y'all week? Got the IT department blessing us with the new setup. Shalom, Ganan.
Yo, Yashar.
See that? Yo. Glasses is something I never wanted to wear growing up. I always used to get, that's Barack. I always get yelled at to wear my glasses.
Yep.
Always did get yelled at. Now I'm trying to purchase a new pair. Finally, I couldn't. How was my brothers and sisters week? See, that sis joined the club. I was called 4 Eyes all my life by my brothers. Hope you're not laughing, bro. You and Brock is the same with that sunlight to shade.
Bakwash got the prescription.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. So, see that? The water. So, as y'all know, just like my last class, we went into a definition. We meditated on it, and moving forward, when we bring up definitions, we try to apply it into our lives moving forward. So the definition or the word of today we're going to go into is integrity. Now, integrity is going to also tie into this lesson. How would you define integrity? How would you define integrity? Tazawar, you're going to go first because you're in the room. Tazawar is going to go first. Everybody else, how would you define integrity? Then I'm going to say the definition of integrity and then lift off some good characteristics from, or to show how do you have integrity, or how does a person show integrity? Go ahead.
I would define integrity as basically standing your ground, standing on what you believe in.
How would you apply that to your life?
Well, especially in these last days, there's going to be a lot of things you're going to be tested on. So you have to have integrity. Your faith has to be strong.
Mhm.
So you have to have integrity to really defend what you believe in.
Now, I don't know if y'all heard Tazawar and Sis Punya, I like your answer. Doing the right thing when no one's watching. Khan, yup. I dog out with more uprightness. Yup. Go on. I love y'all answers. Now, another thing that we have an issue with as a community is, and I'm not saying you guys, but I'm just saying as a whole, as us as a people, especially the people who know who they are, we have this issue to where we're good at defining words, but it's hard for us to show it because your discipline, your integrity, the kids are loud. Your discipline, your integrity, your faith will all be tested. Because what did the Most High love the most? He says what? Your actions are weighed. You can talk it, but when it comes time to it, would you show that characteristic? Would you show those principles? Would you show your morality? Let me get more. You were done with that, huh? You were done, Tazawar? You want to go, bro?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Ada's answer was pretty much along the lines of mine. It's upholding morals and exemplifying character, whenever, wherever, and whoever it is that you are shouldn't change no matter who's around you or what kind of environment you're in.
God. That's what integrity is. All right, so let me read off the definition. The quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. Now, I'm going to read words that's similar to integrity because this word, these two words, I'm going to bring it up in the class. It goes honesty, uprightness, probity, rectitude, honor, honorableness, understandingness, and good character. Good character is what I highlight the most when it comes to this word integrity, because when you're looking at or you're trying to define a good character, especially tying it into this lesson, it goes into the fact that of what is the kingdom of heaven, which I'm going to try to demonstrate, throughout this lesson, the kingdom of heaven, because the kingdom of heaven is a people first. When you're looking at Israel as a nation, you're not looking at the land, you're looking at the people first. And we have to deal with the people first in order for us to usher in that kingdom. In order for us to be a good character, right? Or not just a good character, but to obtain the kingdom, you must be a good character. You must have moral traits. You have to have integrity. You have to have discipline, right? So the first half or the first part of this lesson, I will be demonstrating the issues with us as a people that sometimes we forget. Because in America, we became too comfortable. I'm not talking about us right now, but the people around us who don't know who they are, who don't know that they're God's chosen, that they're princes, princesses, kings, future rulers of the world. They don't know who they are, right? So in America, we have gotten too comfortable, and that's through religion, through the presidents, through money, through greed. We became comfortable as a people to where we forgot that our neighboring family members, which is on different islands or different countries, they are truly suffering more than the American black man, suffering more than the American Puerto Rican man, woman, and child. In America, we have it easy. But outside of America, our people is truly suffering, and we must take note of that. And the question I will ask before I go into the videos and go into my breakdown is, how can you compel these people that they are God's chosen people? How can you compel this person that the kingdom of heaven is inside them? Coming from a background of despair, how can you show that individual that you are something? That will be my first question. So I call this first part chapter 1, and I named it self-doubt. I named it self-doubt. So prepare to write down this definition. Self-doubt. Who can give me, or who could define the term self-doubt? Take a jab. Got it? Go ahead. Self-doubt. In your definition. Now remember, all this class is also inspiration off of Kaz's, Shamak's, and Shai's class. We see the spirit that the lessons that we're bringing out is going forward, and what we must do in order for us to be of that character, of a good example to show others, right? So when it comes to definitions, especially when I love to bring them out, and I'm on the phone with Captain Shamak all the time, 24/7 in the morning, early in the morning, and we have strong builds. We go over definitions, we go over things that we might be meditating on, and we like to define things in our own terms and try to apply it to our lives. So when I give off a definition, try not to answer it robotically, but let it come from a place, when your heart, let it come from a place where you truly felt like that term should be defined. Like, for example, I'm going to give off an example for me for self-doubt. It's a lacking of confidence. Doubting something that you think that you can't do, knowing that if you put more effort into it, you can do it. See, self-doubt is a negative spirit for us to have. Self-doubt comes from an area to where we grew up poor. And us growing up poor, we have broken households. We never had a father to give us confidence, because our fathers are confident boosters. We were raised by our mothers. So being raised by our mothers, we were also raised with more estrogen emotionally, instead of having that confident booster of a father. So that's where self-doubt comes from. That's how I would define self-doubt. And then moving forward, certain things that happened to my life, for an example, my knee injury. Moving forward, I felt like I couldn't fight again because of I'm a person that never got injured before. Yeah, bruises here and there, but I never got injured before. And I've never really understood how to deal with an injury. So now I'm over here, laying down, I felt like I was being useless. As I'm going to training, I couldn't do certain things. So I'm doubting myself. As I'm doubting myself, I'm not understanding that it takes time and patience in order for something to heal. And I got some good news for my knee. Recently, from Tuesday, I went to the doctors and I got my MRI in February. So I got good news. But the point is that when you self-doubt yourself, when you have doubt, you lack faith. Damn, I just went on a tangent. Go ahead.
I got nothing to follow up after that. That's a pretty complete answer.
And you want, never mind, they already went in the chat. Being the example of it, lack of faith, lack of courage, insecurities. I like that one. Not believing in yourself, uncertain about one's ability, negative thoughts of one's ability. I like that. All those answers. All right. So it leads into unbelief, which y'all gave the answer. Unbelief is an absence of faith. Give me Luke chapter 18, verse 8. Unbelief is an absence of faith. Not just the community that suffers from this, but Israel as a whole, as a people, the so-called Blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and West Indians descent. We have unbelief. We have self-doubt, and we lack in our abilities to think that we are actually something. Or Salakia, that we think that we're nothing, but we're actually something. Go ahead, bro.
This is Luke chapter 18 and verse 8. I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on earth?
That's a real question. This question does not only go into the people who don't know who they are. It does not only go to the so-called, Latinos, Blacks. It doesn't go only to them. It goes unto us too as well. Because us as a community, we also suffer from faith. We lack faith. There are times in our lives when we are going through some form of trial, we lack faith, right? That's why we need that comforter. We need that a brother or sister for us to lean on. If that doesn't work, you ultimately lean on the Most High. The Most High will always send you answers and help if you lack faith. You just got to go seek it. Give me Lamentations chapter 4, verse 1. We're going to start this lesson up. Let me get that to you. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 1. Now, Lamentations is one of my favorite books. One of my favorite books. Because it highlights the destruction of us as a nation. The pain, the hurt that we went through for our lack of obedience as a nation. Now, when you're dealing with Lamentations, of course, there's context, there's prophecy, and there's wisdom. Now, when we read Lamentations, we're using the wisdom part of it. We're not using the context because it already happened. Go ahead, Brock.
This is Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 1. Mm-hmm. How was the gold become dim?
Right. So this is Camp 101. This is Camp 101. How has the gold become dim? Go ahead.
How is the most fine gold changed?
Go ahead.
The stones of the sanctuary are poured out on the top of every street. Mm-hmm. The precious sons of Zion.
The precious sons of who?
The precious sons of Zion.
Now, how do we go from the precious sons of Zion to the top killers, drug dealers, murderers, to the poorest of poor, right? Us coming from the ghettos, not having light, not having food, not having the willpower or income to provide for our families. How do we go from this to this? Read that from the top again, Brock.
The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold. Mm-hmm. How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, mm-hmm. the work of the hands of the potter?
So, as you know, as I said before, the question that I asked earlier, through a person that looks like me and you, how can you tell them that the kingdom of heaven is in you when they come from such a despair, a distraught place in their lives? A great answer, Ganan. Disobedience. Disobedience. Now you're following the track, right? When you're speaking to somebody, we must first relate. And then after relating with them, we have to give them the answer. We have to give them the real undefiled answer. Can't be fake when you talk to somebody that looks like me and you. You got to keep it real through our disbeliefs. Because a lot of us have questions. Why did God put us in this predicament? Why did God make my dad poor? Why did God take away my brother? Why did God make us come from this background? Does he really care about us? The answer is yes, he does care about you. But before we can get to that solution as to why did God did this, we got to start from somewhere. We got to start from the beginning. Now, it doesn't have to get, I don't want to say Christian-y. I will say that. It doesn't have to get too Christian-y because religion is what destroyed our people. So when you go and take the religion route, our people don't seem to listen to that because somewhere we understand that religion has destroyed us as a nation. We think that that's a white man's book. We think the so-called white man taught that. Why would you teach something the so-called white man has taught? So we have to come from a different angle. That's why relating to one can help. Read verse 2.
Verse 2. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold.
Comparable unto fine gold. At one point in our lives, we were compared unto fine gold. Even through captivity, even through slavery, the so-called white man saw us as property. When he went to the Isles of Puerto Rico, he saw the Puerto Rican man as property. He saw them as gold. He called them rich people. When you're looking at the transatlantic slave trade, where do you think the term picnic comes from? Pick a nigga. They saw you as property. They saw you as gold, and they sold you as such. I like that Bakwas jewelry. Go ahead.
How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter?
Stop right there. Shaw, your household's on fire tonight. Highlight this one. That's a great question. Being the devil's advocate, right? Because being a devil advocate in this class is going to help us understand. It's going to help us teach one another, right? If God is so good, why does he allow bad things to happen? If you hear that, how would you answer that? Be honest. Would you have an answer to this?
Absolutely.
Tazawar, you're not of rank to teach yet, but soon to be. You two, your top, soon to be. Most High willing, if you keep going with the Trooper program, keep growing in this school and in life as well. How would you handle this question? If God is so good, why does he allow bad things to happen?
Growth. I think everything that God puts us through is like a lesson. Whether he's teaching you patience or anything like that, you got to take it as a life lesson. Because if you don't, you're just going to be your own enemy. Every little thing in your life literally has made you to the man or woman that you are. So if you don't take that and reflect off of it, you're not really listening to the Most High.
I like that. Now, later on in the lesson, I'm going to throw a curveball to that. So remember what you said. Tazawar.
To be honest, if we're going from the angle to try to relate to their estate, because that question comes from, basically looking at your world, at your worldview, your surroundings, and you're seeing all these things and you're wondering why. So when it comes down to relate to even the question itself, then I would say basically like, I'm here to learn too, because that's a very good question. I wouldn't know because I'm trying to relate as well.
I'm glad that you brought out that honesty. Honesty is the only way that we're going to learn. Honesty is something that even a lot of people, it takes humility for you to say that in front of the brothers and sisters that's online watching as well. But honestly, when it comes to honesty in this community, I don't like calling it a community, but in this community of people who know of the faith, right? They don't have that. They're not too honest to say that. You know what they do? Just like what Cass brought out in his lesson, if a person comes up to you and talks to you about their hurt and pain, they will look at you with the mic and damn, that's tough. But you got to follow these laws that you can. Hold on. Before we can jump into the laws, how can you help this person? An example I'm going to bring this man up because he's the top example, the most perfect man, the greatest man to ever live, YHWH. When YHWH went up and he saw the plight of his people, what was he thinking? Did he say, you know what? I got to teach these people the law statute. Did he say that? No. Well, he was moved with compassion, right? He was moved with compassion. He saw the plight of his people. He said, you know what? These people need people to serve them. So he went to his disciples. He said, yo, look at the people. What did he say? The laborers what? The harbor is much. The laborers are few. So, yo, y'all need tasks to do. Y'all need to help these people out. Read verse 2 again. Slide. Don't read yet. I got my laptop right here. Let me see what everybody's gonna say. Yashar, I like that. I will answer because he is balanced. But how would you describe that balance? If I'm a person from the streets who came from poverty, and if I hear because he is balanced, my response would be, okay, but what if the bad outweighed the good? How would you answer that? What if I had 3, 5, 6 months worth of turmoil in my life where I saw my friends getting killed, or I saw my mother working 2, 3 jobs to try to provide because my father walked out of my life, barely got to eat. And now I think that in order for me to help my mother, I got to go to the street and sell drugs. But I don't want to do this alone. So now I got to find some form of unity. Let me join a gang because I know that through a gang, it's going to protect me, right? How would you answer that? Again, there's no wrong answers. I'm just going to counter it. is my thing not going down? Pray for the good that is to come. Okay. 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 Remember, brothers, remember, we don't want to oversaturate them with the scriptures, because remember, in my mindset, in my mind, I think that the so-called white man wrote that book. So you don't want to come to an angle to where you're oversaturating with the word, with the scriptures, I'll say. You must become the word. That's my answer that I'll give. No wrong answers. But if a person that's from the streets, that's just really inquiring and really trying to hear, because usually they don't want to hear nothing. But sometimes the Lord makes them stay and they really inquire. And that's where you're going to be battle tested. How would you compel that person that this is the right answer? Shar's household's on fire. Let's go with the first video. AHLAHAYANAWA.
Oh, come.
Let's go with the first video. Bakwash, what did Bakwash say? Your best breakdown is your behavior. Highlight that. Highlight that. Highlight that. Your best breakdown is your behavior. Payak, you can get with the first video.
This is the Fair Use and Copyright Act. Copyright law states that fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright.
Nika is 10 years old, but unlike children her age, she can't go to school or even out to play. A year ago, after her mother died, she was bought by this woman.
The woman has 2 daughters, and they go to school, but there's no money to send me to school. When I'm here, I clean dishes, I clean the house. I usually wake up at 4 in the morning and get water with a bucket. Then I sweep and I mop the house.
Nika is a restavek, a Haitian phenomenon that's similar to slavery.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep saying the same question. How would you compel these people? How would you show these people that these are God's chosen, that the kingdom of heaven is in them? These are not answers to give me, but these are answers that I want us all to meditate on. Every single day when we wake up, when we go to work, when we're dealing with our families, we must always remember and think about, how can we compel these people? How can we tell this woman, this man, this child, that the kingdom of heaven is in them? Now, this is Haiti, and I believe that this is before the earthquake. So Haiti has been facing poverty before the earthquake. And this is just one of the videos. I got this inspiration from Gabar. Years back, he had created a class called the 12 Tribes Report. And that was a heavy class. Instead of camp, we went to the school. School was filled with brothers, and he really showed us the hurt of us as a nation through different tribes. And he made us remember and understand as to why we are doing this, and to have compassion on each other as a people, and to consider the plight of one another. Because like what I said before, America has gotten us too comfortable to where we forget what's actually going on with our people. Go ahead, Ak.
Nika is not allowed to speak unless spoken to. She has to serve everyone around her, and she's often punished.
They beat me. They hit me when I do something that's not right. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to cry.
A UN study estimates that there are hundreds of thousands of children in Haiti who live in slavery like Nika. The government acknowledges they exist and says it is part of the culture. In neighborhoods like this one, they can be seen everywhere.
Many of the children that are taken away from their homes in the countryside end up in places such as this one, where they end up living in worse conditions than before. Here, they're forced to work, and in many cases, they're beaten.
Bill Nathan was a Restavek himself. He's now the director of the St. Joseph Home for Boys, a place that provides a home for children who are rescued from slavery.
Because the people, when they need the kids in the city, they go very far in the countryside and convince the parents that, okay, hey, I found a place for your kids where your kids will be able to go to school, where your kids gonna have a good life, which is not true. Those guys take money from the other family and they sold your child away.
Poverty is the reason why parents allow their children to be taken away. Elia La Jeunesse has given up 2 of her daughters. She says she was desperate and couldn't feed them. She wasn't given any money, only food and the promise of a better future.
I don't have any money to take care of them. I know that one I gave away doesn't want to stay because she is beaten. I went to see her once, but I have no one to help me.
The Restavek system has existed nearly since the time Haiti was founded, but continues to haunt the lives of many, of those who are sold into slavery, and of those who feel they have no choice but to let their children go. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Port-au-Prince.
Oh, that's in Port-au-Prince. It's in Port-au-Prince. So I'm showing these videos for us to have a formal relation to this, because I'm pretty sure that all of us could come from a background of poverty. All of us can. There's been points in my life where when it came to electricity, we didn't have electricity for about a week or two. And this is when, because I have a big family, I have we have 9 brothers, 10 brothers, 7 sisters. And this is the point where Yeshaya side barely came. They came over once a week or during the weekend. And I just remember growing up, because we didn't have it like that. My dad will, work in New York or New Jersey, coming home late. And there's been moments to where we had to share one bowl of cereal, me and my 3 other siblings, sharing one bowl of cereal. Back in the days, you had that cereal bowl with the straw. I used to hate. I used to hate going after. I used to hate that. That was annoying. But just coming with bed bugs, rats, mice, you name it, right? So I'm bringing these videos out to show you that these are God's people, and to show you that we must also relate with them, because there was a point within our lives where we came from the bottom. Everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody in this chat and in this room, we all came from a certain point to where we were low in our lives, and we told ourselves that we don't ever want to be here again. Some of us took different routes by being in the streets to try to make sure that we don't go back to the bottom. But the Most High has called you. Now, when the Most High called you, he's also calling you to call other people, to show them that you was once were in that predicament. You was once low like that. You was once did not have electricity, barely having food in the house. Your mom's working literally 2 jobs. My mom used to come home. Remember, mom used to come home late. Our mothers used to come home late as hell, working 2 jobs, trying to provide for us. We all suffered through that. Right now, in this moment, this is the moments to where we have to relate and gather our people together to show them that if we got out of this, you can do it too. Because God works in us, he's also going to work in you. Keep reading Lamentations.
Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 3. Even the sea monsters draw out the breast. They give suck to their young ones.
Yep.
The daughter of my people is become cruel,
Mm-hmm.
like the ostriches in the wilderness.
Read verse 4.
The tongue of the suckling child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst.
On. I want you to read this in the NLT. Read this in the NLT. Read this in the NLT.
What chapter and verse?
Lamentations 4 verse 4. I want you to switch over to the NLT so we can better understand what's being talked about. Like I said, there's three things to the scriptures. There's context, there's prophecy, and there's wisdom. And right now we are taking the wisdom out of the scriptures and applying it right now. Go ahead.
Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 4 in the NLT. The parched tongues of their little ones stick to the roofs of their mouths in thirst.
Mm-hmm.
The children cry for bread, but no one has any to give them.
Right. The children cry for bread and no one has any to give to them. Now let's jump to the second video, Apayat. Let's jump to the second video.
This is Puerto Rico. It's a small tropical island which lies roughly 1,000 miles off the coast of Florida. Surrounded by Caribbean countries like the Dominican Republic and Jamaica, in many ways Puerto Rico is very similar to its neighbors. However, unlike these other countries, since the late 1800s, Puerto Rico has been part of the United States of America as something called an unincorporated territory. What this means is that Puerto Rico is neither a state of America, but neither can it make its own decisions. And this is something which has defined the entire modern history of the island. You would naturally assume that being tied to the wealthiest nation in the world would have made the island significantly richer. But in fact, this special relationship has actually had the opposite effect and kept Puerto Rico poor for more than 100 years.
Wow.
Treated as an economy of its own right, Puerto Rico would be the second largest in the Caribbean, narrowly behind the Dominican Republic. And on a per capita basis, that is, divided by the population, it stands at around $41,000, which for context is higher than many developed European nations. But unlike these European countries, life in Puerto Rico for many looks like this. Puerto Rico clearly faces a checklist of problems. Economic depression, a shrinking population, debt crisis and bankruptcy, natural disasters, and government mismanagement, to name a few. Residents of Puerto Rico are US citizens, meaning they are subject to federal laws and eligible for the draft. But they do not enjoy the same political rights as their fellow Americans. And without any say in the laws that govern it, Puerto Rico has for decades been neglected by Washington. Even America's poorest state, Mississippi, is still significantly richer than Puerto Rico. And when comparing median incomes, the picture becomes even more stark, as people earn less than half than their counterparts on the mainland. Despite being notably poorer, Puerto Rico receives significantly less funding and financial support than states of the same size. Mississippi and Puerto Rico both roughly have 3 million residents, yet Puerto Rico receives 10 times less Medicaid funding, despite having a population in far greater need of support, as almost half of the island lives in poverty, a figure which is nearly 5 times greater than the mainland USA.
Hey, Dr. Cool,
this is just one of the many ways that...
Stop at 3:30. Is it 3:30?
The US deliberately exercises its power over the territory to prevent its economic success. And of course, this has its consequences. Between 2004 and 2017, economic output dropped by 14%, meaning if Puerto Rico was measured as a country, that decline would rank among the worst in recent history for a nation not at war. In fact, the situation is so bad that in the last 5 years, more people have left the country than at any time since the Great Puerto Rican Migration after World War II. This is a theme which pops up across all of America's overseas territories, all of which are significantly poorer than the mainland. However, of all these territories, Puerto Rico seems to have it worse. and decades of mismanagement have driven the country to its knees. So how did it come to be that a nation with such potential has been held back and restricted by America?
Right. Something? Go ahead. He may have mentioned it in the video, but we're stopping here. Mayar is teaching tonight, but I also want to mention Puerto Rico is also being heavily gentrified by Esau, and a lot of them are going over there due to the large tax breaks and the easier, cheaper standards of living that Puerto Rico has compared to the United States. If any of you guys are familiar with the Paul brothers, Logan Paul and Jake Paul, they both now live in Puerto Rico. They moved over there from California, I believe, which is one of the most expensive states to live in. And there's a lot of Edomites over there buying out about 3, 4 to 5 blocks of buildings and raising the rent. And I was reading an article on it earlier that had stated that as the rent is increasing, Puerto Ricans aren't being paid more to be able to afford to live, and necessarily it's making living in Puerto Rico harder. And he mentioned that the population is declining, and that's one of the reasons for it. So that I'm not sure if he mentioned that in the video, but that's also one of the reasons why Puerto Rico is not also doing so good.
And also, go ahead.
So this is the real thing. Like, if you visit Puerto Rico and you actually talk to like the locals, understand like the culture, this is 100% so real. It's to the point that our people is creating hatred more and more at Esau because they're doing these things. They're buying out our land. They're pretty much forcing us out of homes, and it's devastating because imagine the place that you're from, you're being forced out. That's like somebody coming to your home and saying, "No, you can't afford it. Get out."
Right.
Imagine that. Can you picture that? Just like the Haiti thing that you just posted up. Like, if that doesn't make you emotional for your own people,
right,
you need to wake up.
Con. That's a powerful testimony. I'm gonna read something in Jeremiah that's going to say exactly what you just brought up. Don't bring that up, but to go along to y'all points, if y'all heard Bad Bunny's new album, which is fire, by the way. Should be listening to that 24/7. But Bad Bunny's new album, he's basically going over the things that y'all just brought out. Because Puerto Rico right now, just like what I brought up in my other class, if you read on the War of Puerto Ricos, that's what Puerto Rico turned into, a vacation land. They said that our forefathers already came over here, i.e. Christopher Columbus, already came over to this land, and it's our God-given right to go back and reconquer this land. That's what they're doing. And they're kicking out the people who's actually from that land. They're kicking them out. They can't go to America, because what happens if they go to America? Trump is going to kick them right back out. So now they can't go to America if they're already American citizens. I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them to be like, all right, you guys are legal immigrants. I'm going to just send them right back. And then where did they go? They go to the ghettos of Puerto Rico, to where it's nice and scrunched up. Everybody's on top of each other, and it's making life even more miserable. That's what what's his name? That's what Biden did to the Mexicans and to the blacks. What Biden did was, in certain states like New York, Chicago, instead of sending, because they were coming over from the lands that they were coming from, instead of sending them into the suburbs, where were they sending them? They were sending them to the ghettos. So now the ghettos is already crowded as hell, especially black ones. We come from an area where we got 2-3 people sleeping on one bed. My freaking brother's feet used to freaking hit I used to hate that crap. Feet hitting each other's face. We come from that. So just imagine more people going to the ghettos and then given certain liabilities to live, like food stamps, right? All those things to live. And now you've seen the black man looking at the Mexican man like, yo, that's our enemy now. You got to get these guys out of here. They're creating hatred for us as a people to hate one another. That's what they were doing. But to go back to what I was saying before, that's what Bad Bunny brought out in his album, how Puerto Rico, how devastating it's becoming now. One of the brothers at the school, Kwame from HQ, he sent me a video of there was a tourist. There was 2 tourists, and they came into the land, and they were screaming at one of the actual person. I forgot what they were arguing about, But the person was basically telling them like, yo, this is our land. Like, what are you doing? And the tourist didn't care. Tourist is arguing back, you know, doing what Esau does best. Damn. Ouch. No. Let's go to verse 5. Verse 5. Yep.
Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 5. They that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets.
No. NLT.
Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 5 in the NLT. The people who once ate the richest foods now beg in the streets for anything they can get.
Was not Puerto Rico called a rich port? The people that was eating the most richest foods are now in the streets begging for food. Pull up the next video, Ak.
GANAN, I'm using that.
What did GANAN say? I can't see it.
I said Esau is the world's terrorist.
No, that's a physic. Hey, Ishmael, why are you being so mean? What the hell we do?
One more good comment.
He got one more comment, then he out of here.
Keep on going or
Nah, I'll play out. He's gonna bring up that Mexican video. Mexico.
Puerto Rico.
Here is a staggering statistic. 56% of children living in the U.S. Commonwealth of Puerto Rico live in poverty. That's compared to 22% of children for the entire United States. CCTV's Nita Soledad Perez is in Puerto Rico with more.
Behind the island's enchantment, there is a hidden truth. Puerto Rico's children are the poorest of the United States. More than half of Puerto Rican children are living in families whose income is less than $20,000. In U.S. terms, below the poverty line. Families like Ana Milagros. She has 4 kids and works 5 hours a day. Ana Milagros has been working at a nursing home for 9 months, but she only gets 5 hours a day for minimum wage.
Yo cobro un viernes sí, un viernes no.
You get paid every other Friday, so if I want to buy clothing for one of my children, I have to save a little for 1 week. I can't afford everything at the same time.
Damn.
Though money is not enough for Ana and her children, poverty cannot be simply defined by a family's income.
83% of children are living in communities with high poverty. And this means that these children and their families do not have enough resources at home or at the community.
The community of the Martín Peña Canal, where Ana lives, is home to the faces behind the numbers. One of the most worrying issues here is public health.
There is no sewage system in the canal, and that is our top priority right now. Because on rainy days, water flows into the canal, forcing wastewater back into pipes and causing floods that sometimes reach inside these family homes.
And the other skeleton in this community's closet is crime.
Every time there is a shooting, my 10-year-old gets really nervous. We all hide in the bathroom of the house because it's the only part built in cement.
But not everything is lost. There is hope, smiles, and perseverance.
In this canal community, there are over 80 leaders working to improve the lives of its residents and children. And they say they will do it with or without the government's help. Nita Soledad Perez, CCTV, San Juan, Puerto Rico.
All right, I have one more I would like to go and jump into. I'll play out, do the other one too as well. This one, before you go into it, this is the one that Roy had showed us a while back, and this one hit home a lot. This one hit home a lot. Go ahead.
On the road to Juan's house, there is no sidewalk. There is no playground with green grass. There is nothing but trash, because the road to Juan's house leads to a garbage dump. Juan Bocanegra has known the Tutitlán garbage dump all his life. He was born here, as were his brothers and sisters. His parents make their living from the garbage. Like others who struggle with poverty in Mexico, they have no education, no training, and no skills to find a job. So each day they search for recyclables. For 12 hours a day, these people labor under the hot sun, picking through the garbage for cans and plastic. They look for anything to sell so they can feed their families, but they make less than $1 a day. So even the children go to work alongside their parents. Amidst the trash, this young girl has found some tortillas. Her family is so poor, the tortillas will become part of tonight's dinner. What was food for the dogs and flies becomes food for the family. While his mother and father toil in the dump, Juan and his brother and sisters must fend for themselves. Approaching Juan's house is a stark reminder of the place where the Bocanegra family makes their living. It's a flimsy shack made from the very garbage they scavenge through each day. Inside, hundreds of flies crawl over the family's noontime meal that was scavenged from the garbage the day before. The children eat it, however, knowing it may be the only meal they have for the rest of the day. But the lack of healthy food is not the only problem these children face.
These children are at a great risk to contract disease in this environment. Because there's no toilet, they relieve themselves outside of their shacks. To make matters worse, they have no place to take a bath.
However disturbing it is to see children face such hardship, for Juan, this is the only way of life he has ever known. Growing into adulthood, Juan may continue in the same cycle of poverty that has beset his family for generations. Without education or training, Juan's only fate is to carry on the family trade of picking through the trash. But down the road from Juan's house, a new community center brings hope to his family's future. Each morning, Juan and hundreds of children from the dump community come to the Tutitlán Community Center for a nutritious hot breakfast. Built by Northwest Medical Teams, the community center now serves more than 45,000 breakfasts each year. The children devour eggs, meat, vegetables, and bread, knowing that this may be the only meal they eat that day. In addition to these nutritious meals, Northwest Medical Teams believes that education and skills training is the key to unlocking a child's future. Juan takes his literacy classes seriously. He knows he is privileged to be the first in his family to learn to read and write.
The teachers in the literacy class have created a new mentality in my son. He now has a very open mind and is willing to learn. He wants to improve himself.
As he excels in his reading, writing, and math skills, Juan hopes that his education will help him get a job and leave the dump when he gets older.
Though he is young, he already knows more than I do. I hope he takes this education and makes good choices for his future.
To go along with Kawan just put in the chat, he said, whoever says they're not under the curses is crazy, and that's a fact. It's just like what I said before, America has made us too comfortable to where we forget where we came from. But I showed these videos to show that these are God's people. And the question that I asked before, I'm going to ask again, how do you compel or show or tell this person that the kingdom of heaven is in them, that they are something special? How can you make somebody come on this side to make them understand who they truly are and not that? We had to go through some sort of a pain in our lives for us to realize as to where we are at in our lives to put us in this point right now.
It makes me realize that the kingdom of heaven are for those that are suffering.
God.
Because if it's for paradise, if it's for peace, if YHWH said that all tears shall be wiped away, you have to be in the state of suffering, and you have to be at the bottom when he returns.
God. Before you go back into the NLT, you could also see this in an American the American black man's hood too as well. Although they don't show it, but people in America too as well is suffering the same cause. AHLAHAYANAWA, real quick. Throw up the poverty rates. Throw up the poverty rates. And then Brock's going to read that. They didn't want to throw Hispanics in this one, so they gave us some. They gave us Native Americans. Go ahead. Go. Oh, scroll down. Read that. Look at that right there. American Indian, Alaska Native, below poverty level. Go down. Of course.
I wouldn't even count Asian.
I wouldn't even count Asian. I wouldn't even count other races, because as soon as they step in America, they get the loans of the lifetime, loans on top of loans, especially the Hamites. So I wouldn't even count them. But the first two I'm focused on.
Hispanic, Latinos, right behind.
Chart visualized percentage number of Americans living. That's what I wanted to show real quick. Now let's jump back to the NLT. What you have something to say?
I said white talk. Some woman said a poor white man is a red flag because where were you when your ancestors were stealing?
Yeah. Yo, what? That's a fact. Poor white man is a red flag. Where were you? How are you not benefiting off the backs of your forefathers? That's crazy. Go back to that LT, Brock.
NLT, this is Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 5. The people who once ate the richest foods now beg in the streets for anything they can get.
Yep.
Those who once wore the finest clothes now search the garbage dumps for food.
Right. So now we're living in these prophecies because we are searching garbage for food. We are going to, what's that, Goodwill for clothing. Mothers have to save up 2 weeks, 2, 3 weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks worth of money in order for her to provide. Fathers as well. Broken households. Fathers not being in our lives. This is what we're going through. Israel right now is lamenting. The blacks, Hispanics, and the Native Americans, West Indians descents are lamenting in America and outside of America. We are all going through the same struggle together. Go ahead, Brock.
Sure.
No, you guys.
Verse 6, the guilt of my people is greater than that of Sodom, where utter disaster struck in a moment and no hand offered help.
Right. No hands offering help. Is Puerto Rico getting help right now by the government? No. Is Mexico right now getting help by the government? No. I brought this up before. Don't you know that in Mexico, they're drinking Coca-Cola for water? Kids at the age of 1 and 2, their immune systems and their bodies adapted to drinking Coca-Cola like it's water. I think it was because I think it was the water reserves. They took away one of the water reserves in Mexico, and that's what they rely on. That's why you see a lot of Issacharites drinking Coca-Cola as their go-to drink. Suffering from diabetes. So is the government helping them? No. Is the government helping Haiti? Hell no. Hell no. Is the government helping the American blacks? No. As much as they say that they are, as much as presidents be like, we're for black culture, we're for Hispanic culture, ultimately they're not. If Barack Obama, who is the self-proclaimed black man when he's not, didn't do nothing for the community, what makes you think a so-called white man is going to do it? They might do it to the tiny bit extent. That's it. They're not going to do nothing. February, isn't that Black History Month? You know what they're going to do in February? They're going to tie in some LGBT stuff tied into that, and then call it that, and then that's going to overcome Black history, so-called Black history. Has the government helped us? No, they have not. They have never did, and they never will. Because our enemies is not for our safeties. But we as a nation messed up because through time and time again, instead of trusting in the highest power that given us life, that said that we were chosen, that said that we were set apart, that said that we were special, instead of trusting into that higher power, we went into the enemy's hands. We trusted into the enemies because we lacked faith. We had self-doubt. We did not have courage. We lacked integrity. We lacked discipline. And we're still lacking this today. Go on, Brock.
Our princes once glowed with health, brighter than snow, whiter than milk.
See, our princes once glowed with health. Those videos that I showed y'all, these people were not glowing with health. People is literally eating out of the dumpster. We are not glowing with health. Don't you know that in Atlanta, right? Atlanta and Houston, Texas, has the highest rate of sexual transmitted diseases? And you know who that's coming from?
Oh, yeah.
It's coming from us. We are not glowing from health no more. Literally. Go ahead.
It says their faces were ruddy as rubies, their appearance like fine jewels.
Keep reading.
Verse 8. But now their faces are blacker than soot. No one recognizes them in the streets.
Right. No one's going to recognize us. Look at us. When you're driving down, when you're in Washington, D.C., you're driving down I forgot what street in Washington, D.C., you see nothing but poverty. You see nothing but the poor of our people living in tents. You see nothing if you go to Boston and this, what is that, Mass Ave? On Mass Ave in Boston, you drive down that little strip, there's a line of homeless so-called black men and women and children. A line going down that whole strip. This is what you're seeing. Go ahead, Brock.
It says their skin stick to their bones. It is as dry and hard as wood.
Keep reading.
Those killed by the sword are better off than those who die of hunger.
Did not Shamak bring that up in his last class, what the mothers were doing in order to avoid the cruelty of the so-called white man? The mothers were literally killing their children so their children wouldn't feel that pain of suffering. They would rather kill their children in order for their child to suffer from poverty, to suffer from hunger. Go ahead.
Starving, they waste away for lack of food from the fields.
Is that will jump to verse 17.
Verse 17. We looked in vain for our allies to come and save us, but we were looking to nations that could not help us.
See, instead of turning to the Most High and understand that He is for us, we continuously looked into the government. We were calling for the government. The government has done nothing to help the so-called Black, Latino, Native American man. Still today.
What Trump is doing.
Trump is deporting. He started his mass deportation, and there's been a lot of people protesting, especially in Texas. There's been a lot of people protesting in LA, and they're trying to fight for the so-called Mexican man to stay in that land because, in all honesty, that was Mexican territory. So how do you have the right to go into that state and say you guys got to leave? Same thing what you said before. That's their land. Why do they got to leave?
Well, that area for that last video about Puerto Rico, that area is called Barrio Obrero, Puerto Rico.
Barrio Obrero?
Right, Barrio Obrero.
I'm honoring you.
I used to hang around it. And the thing is, like, there's a lot of Dominicans there. There's a lot of Dominicans. Whatever Trump is doing here, the same thing is going on in Puerto Rico. They're deporting a lot of Dominicans. Because there used to be videos to where you would see them come on the boat illegally, and they would come on the shore. And the Puerto Ricans that would be on the beach would be like, okay, chill, just stay right there, so they can act as if they were already there. But they would wash up on the shore. But they would be like, nah, to make them like camouflage with the people.
Yeah.
But all that deportation that's going on over here is happening in Puerto Rico as well.
And you're from Yauco, right?
Yauco.
Yauco. That's the south. Where the mountains is that, right?
This is the mountains here, mostly in the center, but San Juan, that's where I was raised.
Real freaking Italian. Yeah.
Breath.
He's from Tahan.
Come on.
Right. Let's jump to Jeremiah 17:1. The answer of your question, your top. Now, we're going to use context for Jeremiah. Because sometimes we use Jeremiah 17:4. Let me get there. Hold on. We use Jeremiah 17, verse 4 a lot. Read verse 4, Brock, real quick. Jeremiah 17:4.
Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
See, we read that a lot and we feel like, you see that? You're going to forget who you are as a people. Throughout time, you're not going to remember. Okay, but let's read the context of it first. Read verse 1, Brock.
Verse 1. The sin of Judah is written with the pen of iron, and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars.
Right. The sin of Judah, which is the southern kingdom, being the so-called blacks, Haitians, and Jamaicans. Go ahead.
Verse 2. Whilst their children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills. O my mountain in the field.
Right. This is going into the Most High removing us from our land. Go ahead.
O my mountain in the field. I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders.
You read it?
And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
Now that word heritage just means possession, property. So the Lord is removing us from our land. That's what that's going into. So when you're looking at, if we want to correlate it with modern days, who's going into our land today? So-called white men. So so-called white man is kicking out the Puerto Ricans. So-called white man is moving certain areas. When you go into LA, Nevada, when you go into those areas, those areas, Texas, the so-called white man is moving into those lands, building suburbs, building businesses, and taking these people out and deporting them back to where they originally came from, even though they inhabited majority of the United States, right? So that's what's going on today. Keep reading. Finish 4.
And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
Yep.
And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
And now today we are serving our enemies. Jump to verse 13.
Verse 13. O Lord, the hope of Israel.
Read that part again.
O Lord, the hope of Israel.
See, the Most High God is the hope of Israel. Go ahead.
All that forsake thee shall be ashamed, and they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living waters.
Right, because because we have forsaken the Most High, which caused our unbelief, and now He has put us in a generational debt as a people, as a nation. Give me Hosea chapter 6, verse 1.
Hosea chapter 6 and verse 1. Come and let us return unto the Lord.
So this is the answer to what we were talking about before. You read it?
For he hath torn, and he will heal us.
For he has torn, but ultimately he will heal us. Yes, the Most High God has put you through turmoil in your life, and you feel like God hasn't been answering you inside your life. But guess what? The same God that put you through tribulation, that put you through trials, that made certain things happen into your life, He's the same God that will heal you. You just got to seek Him. You just got to find Him. Read that again.
Come and let us return unto the Lord, for he hath torn, and he will heal us.
So now that was the first part. We're going to get into seeking. We're going to get into seeking. Like I said before, the question in the beginning of the class, how can you show or tell these people that the kingdom of heaven is in them? How can you compel each and every one of God's chosen, which are the so-called Black, Latinos, and Native Americans, how can you show them that they are God's chosen and the kingdom of heaven relies in them? How can you show them that? Throughout everything that we have went through as a nation, as a people, still today. How can you show them an example? What can you demonstrate? What wisdom can you drop on them? How can you relate to them? So now we're going to go into seeking. Seek, the definition of seek is attempt or desire to obtain or achieve something. What does seeking or seek to seek mean to you? That's my question to the chat, and that's my question to the brothers in the room. What does seeking or to seek mean to you? I gave off mine one more time. Attempt or desire to obtain or achieve something, in parentheses.
Just an in-depth find and search for what it is you genuinely want.
My name and life duty. Okay. Gabaryam?
I would say my definition of seeking is your interest, something that like sparks your interest.
Your top?
I'll say seeking. I'll say seeking is looking for an answer or a calling that you have, and you're trying to understand what it is.
Okay. Chat, what y'all thinking, chat? I got two. Bakwash, my name and life duty. Okay. Ganan, to search for something of value. Okay.
Oh, it actually is.
Look. Oh, snap.
Okay.
Barazal, discovery of the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the scriptures and how to properly apply them. Panah, continually seeking knowledge as we are always evolving and there's always room for improvement. She's been on fire, Tom. Oh, snap. Panah. Ishar's house. I like the answer, bro. Can y'all like that one?
Hers?
Yep. About to throw a curveball. Y'all ready for the curveball? Ready for the curveball? How can you seek in a world full of distractions?
Hey.
Now, don't answer it from your shoes. That was a good one. I had to stop it right there. Nice try, your Tom. Don't answer it from your shoes. Remember, we're in the form of relating right now. How can you seek in a world full of distractions? I'm going to give you an example. I'm a so-called African American, and I'm searching as to why I'm going through this. But guess what comes knocking on my door? Yo, the game's finna slide out. You coming? You gotta make this bread, right? Remember, you're still trying to search. Something hits you up. I miss you. You gonna come over tonight? Then the next one hits you up, different one. You go, hey, how you doing? Right? That's distraction. Don't be real. Be real. So boom, that happens. Another distraction. You got a full-ride scholarship to somewhere. Those are the main three for Jake. Main three. Because anything else we'd have got no interest in. It's either selling drugs, being in the gang, or relationships, or sports. It's like it for. Even though you can put some of them, it's the same. I'm being realistic though. How can you seek in a world full of distractions if you are by yourself? See, this world has given us culture. The world has given the so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native American man culture. It's not our culture. They gave it to us. They said, okay, in order for you to be successful in this life, you have to be a gangster. You have to be a rapper, which is entertainment. And you have to do sports. That's the only three. And then for the cherry on top, gave us social media. He said, you know what? If that's not going to hold you down, let me give you social media so other people can look at you so you can feel a form of fulfillment because no one else giving you attention. You're pretty, you're beautiful, or you look good, right? You got muscles. So what you do is you post yourself. When you post yourself, you're seeking validation for everybody else. But we seem to forget that this world never gave value to Christ. So why do we have to seek validation from everybody else? This world didn't care about Christ. But we don't know or understand that. So gave us social media, gave us sports, gave us entertainment. Said, okay, you got to be the top rapper. Call you Lil such and such. You can be a top sports athlete. Can have social media. Just wear certain clothing, show off some cleavage, and you'll be all right. Trust me, it will work. And we seem to forget that, even though that may seem like the way out, we seem to forget that who owns the whole thing? So-called white man. He owns the sports entertainment. He owns the rap industry, the music industry, and he damn sure owns social media. So either way, when we try to make a way out of our circumstances, we are still being sold to the so-called white man. He still has us in chambers in slavery. Are we following along? Now, give me Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 11. Let me show you what Moses was dealing with. Let me show you what Moses was dealing with. Go ahead, Brock.
Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 11.
Before I go into this, who knows what Deuteronomy chapter 31 is talking about? Kawan, do not say nothing. Troopers, who knows what this is talking about?
I read 32 today. I didn't read 32.
Okay, go ahead. Who got it? Who got it? You know what hit me too as well? It's no difference, and I need y'all to follow me with this. There's no difference between a drug dealer. Well, there's a lot of similarities between a drug dealer and an athlete, being us as a people. It's just that one is illegal money and one is legal money. Both are owned and supplied by the so-called white man. I need y'all to know that. When it comes to drugs, who's planted the drugs in our neighborhoods? Who owns the sports industry? This is that. And those happen to be the two ways how to get out the quote-unquote hood. You have to still go through the so-called white man. Well, go ahead. 31, verse 11.
Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 11. When all Israel is come to appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, thou shalt read this law before all Israel in their hearing.
Go ahead.
Gather the people together, men and women and children, and thy stranger that is within thy gates, that they may hear and that they may learn and fear the Lord your God and observe to do all the words of this law.
Now, that's a good one, Ganan Khan. You're still playing these games, sports games, drug dealing game. Yeah, so Deuteronomy 31 and 32 is going into the passing of the mantle to Joshua, because Moses is sadly about to pass away. And the beauty behind this is that the Lord tells Moses that you're getting ready to die. You know how beautiful that is? You don't have to worry about one day just getting shot, getting a heart attack. The Lord literally told Moses, yo, you're getting ready to die. So write out this song, write out this law for them. But I'm going to, before you die, but there's a bad part, I'll say. You're going to read about it. But he said, before you die, A, B, and C is going to happen. So imagine Moses is like, all right, I'm going to pass the mantle to Joshua. Okay, I'm going to put my hand, we'll baptize him. Right, so keep reading, Brock.
Verse 13.
Yep.
And that their children which have not known anything may hear and learn to fear the Lord your God, as long as ye live in the land, whether ye go over Jordan to possess it.
Keep reading.
And the Lord said unto Moses, behold, thy days approach that thou must die, Call Joshua and present yourselves in the tabernacle of the congregation.
Right. So Lord's like, yo, you're about to kick the bucket soon. So call Joshua over and get ready to pass the mantle. Go ahead.
That I may give him a charge. And Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves in the tabernacle of the congregation.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of a cloud, and the pillar of the cloud stood over the door of the tabernacle.
Keep reading.
And the Lord said unto Moses, behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up and go a-whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land.
You mean to tell me that's the last message I'm going to hear? before dying, that's the last message I'm going to hear? Yo, you know when you die, these people, I know all that hard work you put in, especially in the wilderness, because these people were stiff. Yeah, I saw. I've been there, killed a lot of them too. You saw what happened when they built that calf and started worshiping him. Said, yo, they still haven't learned. So now when you die, they're still going to go whoring after other gods. In modern day vernacular or in through wisdom, who are the other gods? It's not just Christianity, because remember, if you were paying attention to Kawan's class, idolatry can be anything you put your mind to. Money, even sports can be. When you don't live with a purpose and you just after that route, that can become your God. So throwing these things at us, being our enemies, doing that, he made these idols our gods, to where that's the only way we feel like we can make it out of this world. Forgetting our power, forgetting our actual provider. Can you read them, Brock?
Whether they go to be among them and forsake me and break my covenant which I have made with them.
Yep.
Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them.
All right, so what we're suffering today. You can stop right there. Jump to verse 27. Read verse 26 first.
Verse 26.
Yep.
Take this book of the law and put it in the side of the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God,
yep,
that it may be there for a witness against thee. For I know thy rebellion and thy stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day, ye have been rebellious against the Lord.
So listen to what Moses is about to say. Read verse 27 again.
For I know thy rebellion and thy stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day,
yep,
ye have been rebellious against the Lord. And how much more after my death?
That's a real question. You have been rebellious against the Most High God. The so-called Black and Latino and Native American man. You want to know why we're in this predicament? You have been rebellious all your life. How much more? That's what Moses said. He said, with me, you've been rebellious. You built a golden calf. You stopped believing. You had doubt. You lacked faith. How much more are you going to do? And this is going down from generations to generations. How much more? Read verse 26. Read the latter part again.
Ye have been rebellious against the Lord, and how much more after my death?
That's a real question. How much more after his death? Read Hosea 7 and 16. Moses was concerned. He said, yo, y'all was rebelling and going after gods when I was alive. You mean to tell me that after I die, it's going to get worse? Y'all saw the videos. Y'all saw how we were living and still living today. You see what happens when you have self-doubt? But it's where we came from as to why we are like this today. And this is why I pose the question. How can you compel or show these people that we are God's people and the kingdom of heaven is inside you? Go ahead.
Hosea chapter 7 and verse 16. They return, but not to the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
They are like a deceitful bow. The princes shall fall by the sword for the rage of their tongue. This shall be their derision in the land of Egypt.
Right. This is going to be our derision in the land of Egypt. Now we're using this for wisdom. This is our trouble in the land of America, and not just America, the neighboring islands who have our people living in there. So those two parts wasn't solely for us to listen to. It was majority for those who might click on this video and might actually start seeking and searching who God is and putting down these distractions, because these distractions is not going to get us nowhere in life. It's not going to uplift you. You will remain in the same cycle over and over and over again, full of despair. Right now, this is the time for us to take advantage of this and really earnestly help each other. This part of the lesson is going to be solely for us. Like I said before earlier, I've been talking with Shamak 24/7 for the past months. This conversations has been spiraling, and I think our most important conversation that we've been having is the consideration of Christ. And I brought this up to Kawan one time too, and we talked about this. And considering Christ goes a long way. It goes a long way. It may sound like a light thing, a light title, but it's deeper than how it really sounds. Because you're going into your goals and you're going into your purpose. Now, there's a difference between goals and purpose. There's a difference. Who knows the difference between a goal and a purpose? Who wants to give a jab at that? Go ahead.
I would say a goal is something that you personally want to achieve.
Yep.
And a purpose is what you was created to do.
Beautiful answer. Off the rip. A goal can be selfish. I'm going to say this again. A goal can be selfish, brothers and sisters. You can have a goal for yourself. I have certain goals for myself that I would like to achieve. Y'all already know some of them. But due to my injury, I can't achieve that goal as of yet. But am I upset about it? No. I'm not upset because I understand my purpose. See, that's the difference between a goal and a purpose. Once you have your purpose, you're set for life. Because through your purpose, you cannot be depressed if you cannot achieve your goals. Somewhere along the line, you're going to achieve that goal if you keep going. But your purpose is what everyone must continuously do. And what is that purpose? What is the purpose for mankind? For everybody. Bring it up. Okay. All right, us. Bring it out. Reload.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments.
Fear God and keep his commandments. Now that is a do. I was going to get into that. That's a commandment for us to keep. But when you're looking at the purpose as a general, I said for the whole creation. I'm not just talking about us. But what is the purpose of everyone? Meaning other nations and races as well.
Good question.
To serve.
Okay.
To serve.
Nation.
Everybody must serve.
Okay.
Everyone must serve. When we get into power, most high willing, who's going to be serving us? The other nations. Inheritance. Today, when you're having a marriage, in marriage, you serve each other. The man and the woman serve each other. When you have a child, you serve that child. As your child gets older and you get older, your child serves you because you're old and docile. When we are out there teaching, we're serving the community. When I'm teaching training with Shamak and Officer Kayal, we're serving you guys. We're showing y'all what do we do, the training that we do, we're bringing it to the table and we're showing you. So you can do it as well for self-defense purposes. For Warts as well in Florida. Teach us up here. What are we doing? We're serving. Everybody plays a role in this body, and it's to serve each other. Now, what happens if you lose focus of that purpose? We're going to get into that answer. Give me Luke chapter 23, verse 34. Because I'm going to show you something about YHWH. Because YHWH fulfilled his duties. Yahushua served. Go ahead.
22:54.
Yep. 23 and 34. 23:34.
This is Luke chapter 23 and verse 34. Then said Yahushua, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
I need y'all to understand this. Christ was a selfless man, serving amongst hard-headed people. His own people turned him in. He was backstabbed and betrayed by one of his fellow disciples. And you know what he said on that cross? After going through such pain, what did he say?
Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
He said, Father, forgive them. That was the first step of Christ being a mediator towards man, which is us, not the whole nations, towards Israel, him and his Father. So even if Christ is not here, he's still helping us by mediating with his Father. And he said, Lord, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. And that covered a generation of people. Christ was bathed in humility. But we love, and like I said, this is talking about the quote-unquote community. I don't like saying community, but just talk about the quote-unquote community. We love to quote about Christ. We love to bash Christians and say, you guys are not actual Christ-like, but behind closed doors, you're not Christ-like at all. I gave you the term integrity in the beginning of the class, right? Behind closed doors, that's how you prove that you're in that spirit of integrity, right? Matter of fact, let me give that. Brock, read this real quick. I got you. Integrity. So I didn't get to read this. Excuse me for 1 second. Never mind. It dropped. Damn it. It dropped. Never mind. Read that again. I'll find it later. Read Luke 24 and 34. 23, 34, yep.
Then said Yahushua, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And they parted his raiment and cast lots.
Right. They parted his raiment and cast lots. Now give me John chapter 21, verse 15. Because remember, servant also comes in multiple ways. But look at the selfless behavior of Christ. Because I'm going to show y'all what it truly means to be Christ-like. It's not what a lot of us is doing today. I'm about to break the news to you. But if you really want to take up this mantle and bash other people and claim that they're not Christ-like when you're not following after the same examples, then what are you doing? What are you doing as an individual? What are you doing as a character? Because remember, integrity, inside integrity, what is it? To be a good character, being a good citizen. This is how you build the kingdom of God. Because remember, Israel is a people first. So in order for you to tell a person that the kingdom of heaven is in you, you have to show that example. You have to be that example. You have to have discipline. You have to have fear through understanding. You cannot doubt yourself 24/7. A lot of us wake up depressed as hell. And then through our depression, we're listening to we're listening to crazy ass music in the morning and letting that fuel our day. How about you take the time to put on a video, or don't even look at your phone for 30 minutes when you wake up. Self-evaluate and meditate on where you're at, and then pray, and then move forward. Stop doubting yourself 24/7, because you are worth something. If you're still in this walk, still fighting, understand that you have not lost yet. Do not give up. Read, Brock.
This is John chapter 21 and verse 15.
Go ahead.
When they had dined, Yahushua said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these?
Right. So this is what Christ is saying right now. This is how you prove that you love Christ. Go ahead.
He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my lambs.
What did Christ say?
Feed my lambs.
So in order for you to love Christ, what must you do? And what is that?
Help our brothers.
No, but what is that? If you help someone, what are you doing? If you feed someone, what are you doing? You're serving them. So Christ said what? If you love me, do this. If you love me, do this again and keep doing it. And honestly, the people that fell, and may they rise again, do you honestly believe that they have the love of Christ in them? Because when you fall, you become selfish. When you fall and leave a camp full of brothers and sisters who's honestly trying to do right, and because of your own issues, because you held on to a grudge, because you have sinned and erred, and you felt like you couldn't come back to it, you have put the plow down, and you became selfish to your own problems. Because you couldn't make amends with the brothers and sisters who was with you, warring with you, who clothed you, who from time to time fed you, who shed tears with you, because you couldn't put that issue aside, you became selfish and you forgot about what Christ actually did. If you are by yourself, can you serve God properly? Or can you serve Christ properly? Or be Christ-like properly? It's a question. If you have a grudgeful heart, because there are some people who's by themselves, who's trying their best. But if you have a grudgeful heart and you think that you could do this by yourself, can you serve Christ? No, you cannot. Because what did the scripture say? If you have an issue with your brother, you put that gift down at the altar and you go make amends with them. Read again, Brock.
So when they had dined, YHWH said to Simon Peter, Simon, thou son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my lambs.
Keep reading to 18.
Verse 16. He saith to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my sheep.
Right, because Christ is going to keep asking this. Christ is going to keep asking so you understand what he's saying. So, do you love me? Because Christ is trying to prove you by action. Right now, we're being proved by actions. If you really love Christ, you must serve. You must help. You must continue to do the things that he has placed in your life for you to do. If you are a teacher behind this desk, you must continue to do so. And you have to be blameless. If you have certain roles in this camp, in this body, you have to continuously do. And if you have issues within your lives, that's why there's counselors. And a lot of us avoid counsels. How can you be that proper servant or that proper character, that citizen to build the kingdom of heaven through your actions without counsel? You think you could do this by yourself? A lot of men and women fell by themselves. I'll let you know that by now. Because you have no one else to lean on. But you know what I do every single day? I thank the Most High God that I have older brothers such as Gabar and SHAMI in my life that can counsel me in certain directions where I feel uncomfortable in, that I have certain doubts in. I told y'all I felt like I wasn't going to fight again. But you know who kept echoing in my head each and every morning? Shabbat is laughing. Shabbat right there. Every single day. And I doubted, you know what? I'm not going to. And then Gabar, out of nowhere, brings that up. And I'm like, okay, be patient. Patience. To the point where now I'm freaking front flipping, back flipping off this, and I'm stomping my knee right now, my foot right now. And it was given good news on Tuesday because I didn't give up. And that's just on a physical level. On a spiritual level, there might be things that you may be going through spiritually where you doubt and you have a doubtful heart and don't have faith in the Most High because you might be going through something financial when your back is against the wall, when you're going through marital issues and you feel like you can't do this no more. But you know who's always there in your corner? The men and women that counsel. But a lot of y'all does not like go to counsel. And that is a selfish behavior to have. For you not to receive counsel is a selfish behavior to have. You cannot be a citizen, a good character, without the proper leader. You reading, Brock?
Verse 17, he saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things, thou knowest that I love thee. YHWH saith unto him, feed my sheep. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself and walkest whither thou wouldest.
Right, go ahead.
But when thou shalt be old, and thou shalt stretch forth thine hands.
Right, so when you get older, see, when you're young, you're in your youth, you're in your strength. You can clothe yourself, bathe yourself, get food for yourself. But when you get older, go ahead.
But when thou shalt be old and shalt stretch forth thy hands, and another shall gird thee and carry thee whither thou wouldest not.
So when you get older, someone's going to have to do that for you. Someone's going to have to do that for you. Jump to Mark chapter 10, verse 44.
Mark chapter 10 and verse 44.
Go ahead.
And whosoever of you will be the chiefest shall be servant of all.
Read that again.
And whosoever of you will be the chiefest shall be servant of all.
Keep reading.
For even the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto.
I actually start from verse 42. Salakia.
Verse 42. But YHWH called them to him and saith unto them, Ye know that they which are accounted to rule over the Gentiles exercise lordship over them.
Yep.
And their great ones exercise authority upon them.
Keep going.
But it shall not be among you. But whosoever will be great among you shall be your minister.
Whosoever shall be great among you shall be your minister. And this is what we must do amongst each other when it comes to ranks. And this is what we must do amongst each other when we go out there and teach, where we're giving back to our communities. When we do food drives, clothes drives, back to school drives. Kayal, he's not here right now. Yeah, he's not in the classroom right now, but Officer Kayal, he's in charge of the events when we're doing the food and clothes drives. And the amount of backpacks that he can get in a day is wildly insane. Wildly insane. I don't know how he does it. But it's to the point where now we're sending food and clothing out to Puerto Rico. When we're going to certain communities, passing them out. Going to Boston, doing the same thing as well. Because this is how we serve. This is how we show good character. This is how we show discipline, integrity. This is how we show that we love Christ. When we continue to fulfill our purpose, including inside our households with the parents and the children. When you're teaching a child how to be obedient, you're teaching a child how to stay in the straight and narrow path, what's right from right. From what's right from wrong, and keeping them away from evil. This is what we got to continuously do. In order for us to build the kingdom of heaven, which is inside of us, we have to enact that example. We have to be that people 24/7, and we cannot fail. You're going to obtain certain losses, but it's easier to get up from a loss than a failure. A failure, you're going to have to fight tooth and nail. But a loss is just a lesson that you may learn, and moving forward, you know how to avoid it. Do not let a loss define your character. And do not let a failure define who you are. Keep reading, Brock.
Verse 45, for even the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many.
What did Christ do? He ministered. He served his people. And he gave his life for his people. And he fulfilled his mission. This is what we can take from the life of Christ, that we must do 24/7 every single day when we wake up. When we wake up in the morning, do not have negativity. We understand we're in captivity. We're hurt. Our back's hurting. We got low income, like the jobs. It's getting crazier and crazier. It's hard to provide. But guess what? The Lord has given you another day to live. For you to be better than who you was yesterday. And that's something that I'll take over anything. Because he's given us a chance to to craft and mold our character through the wisdoms that he has placed in his life. Read 45 again.
Verse 45.
Yep.
For even the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many.
I said this. When we sin, we become a casualty to others and not just to others yourself. When we sin, we become a casualty to others and not just to others, yourself as well. That's how deep your purpose goes. Because especially in the body, when you sin, you become a casualty into your own household because you might go through a divorce through your sins. You might cause certain disruptions in your household through your sins. And not just that, through the camp as well. Because you might play a certain role in the body that you're well needed in. And because you sinned, you disrupt the body. And you also disrupt yourself. And that proves that you do not have the love of Christ when you sin, which can, through a process of times, be rearranged by repenting. But those who sin and fall don't get up. Shame on you. Because instead of acknowledging your flaws, acknowledging your wrong, and earnestly repenting to get back on the good grace of the Most High, you stood in that stench. You gave up and you betrayed the brothers and sisters who will lay their life down for you. You betrayed the cause that Christ has purposed for us to do. You betrayed the example that Christ laid for us. You said the death of Christ is meaningless. That's how deep it goes. When you sin and stay in that stench and not repent, you think of the death of Christ as nothing. You don't think about Christ at all. You don't think about your actions at all. You become selfish. When you sin, you become a casualty to others, not just to others, but yourself too as well. And not just to yourself, to Christ too as well. And you become useless. When you don't have a purpose, you become useless. Because then you're just doing everything that everybody else is doing. Nothing. They're not gaining nothing from the life that they're living in right now. And you chose to go back to that life instead of living a life full of love. Knowing that in order for you to attain love, you got to go through turmoil. You got to go through something to get love. But you said that this was too hard. You said, I didn't like what that brother told me. I'm not going to F those brothers right there. They're off. So you're going to stick to yourself. Here's a quote real quick. That just reminded me of a quote. This is a quote from the Captain Shamak that he has given me. And it says, intelligence without character makes you a devil. Type that in the chat real quick, Brock. Intelligence without character makes you a devil. Go ahead.
This is from another Ephraimite. He said something in Spanish, and it translates to, if you don't live to serve, you don't deserve to live. That's what he said.
Okay. That's powerful. You don't live to serve, you don't deserve to live. That's powerful. Write that in there too, Brock. If you don't live to serve, you don't deserve to live.
Say it in Spanish. El que no vive para servir, no sirve para vivir.
Oh, you speak fluent? Okay.
He's from the mountains of Yaiko, not San Juan. Yaiko. The mean streets. All right, give me your character matters the most. That's what I want to highlight in this class. That I pray that we all take away from. Your character and how you act matters the most. Because that's how you usher in the kingdom of heaven. That's how you usher in the kingdom of heaven. Give me give me Matthew's Sirach 2 verse 6 in the NLT. I've been meditating on a lot of scriptures, especially in Job, a lot of scriptures for the past days on just character development, and not just on character development, a lot of prophecies as well for the past weeks. and just been sharing them with the captain. We just been going back and forth. He's been speaking. I just been listening, and I'll say something here and there, right? So and then I gotta give a shout out to GANAN. I don't know if y'all know this, but GANAN every morning has been sending paragraphs of affirmations. And if I were you guys, depending on what time he sends them, that should be the first thing that you should read, take from, and meditate on. Because that's going to help you throughout your day. Words of affirmations GANAN sends in the mornings.
This is Sirach chapter 2 and verse 6 in the NLT. Trust the Lord and he will help you.
Right.
Walk straight in his ways and put your hope in him.
Right. Walk straight in his ways and put your hope in him. Keep reading.
All you that fear the Lord, wait for him to show you his mercy.
All you that fear the Most High God, wait for him. Be patient. If you're going through something in your life, be patient. What does patience mean? To suffer.
Yeah. Endure long suffering.
Endure long suffering. Be patient. Just like what Gabar tells me, Shamak tells me, you're going to be all right. When you having those conversations and they end their sentence, they say, you're going to be all right. And you hear that, you're like, yo, did you just tell me? But it's true. You're going to be all right. Those two are my older brothers, our older brothers in this family. Can you read it?
All you that fear the Lord, wait for him to show you his mercy. Do not turn away from him or you will fall.
Do not turn away from him. If you fear the Most High, do not turn away from him because you will fall. Go ahead.
All you that fear the Lord, trust him and you will be certainly rewarded.
Keep reading.
All you that fear the Lord, look forward to his blessings of mercy and look forward to his blessings of mercy and eternal happiness.
Keep reading.
Think back to the ancient generations and consider this.
No, give me verse 5.
Verse 5. Gold is tested by fire and human character is tested in the furnace of humiliation.
Read that part again.
Gold is tested by fire and human character is tested in the furnace of humiliation.
Gold is tested by fire and human character is tested through humiliation. Human character is tested through humiliation. And who was humiliated throughout the world to see? YHWH.
Yep.
And he fulfilled his mission. So believe that your character, who you are as a person, will be tested. And you do need to pass that test by applying the wisdoms of the scriptures, by applying discipline, integrity, fear, and then through fear, understanding in each and every moment in your life. In order for you to build the kingdom of God, you have to constantly have a character development in your life. You cannot be the same man you was yesterday. You have to be different today. And that human character will be tested. I gave out these definitions for a reason, but it's your job after this class to prove to yourself that you can be that good character. That you can live by the definitions that was brought out in tonight's class. Give me Matthew 5 and 16. This is one of my favorite precepts to read.
This is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 16.
Stop right there. How was the thief on the cross humiliated?
That's just someone typing. He's in trouble.
Gosh, golly. Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 16. Let your light so shine before men.
Right. Read that again.
Let your light so shine before men.
Let your light shine before men. If you have a dim light, what are you doing with your life? How are you providing for others? How are you serving others? But the scripture says what? Let your light shine before men. Let the spirit that God has given you shine to others that they can be enlightened.
Right.
that they can be helped, that they can know the answer to their own lives. Okay, I'm going through this because of A, B, and C. Now I understand as to why I grew up poor, broken, didn't have an answer to anything, but you have given me the answer through the example of life that you're living. That's what we got to be. What, Brock?
That they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
That they may see your good works, then glorify the Most High. Because the credit doesn't go to us. Your good works can make a man praise the Most High God that they met you. Praise the Most High and say, bless you for what you have done. That's what your good works can produce. So enough of being selfish, self-willed 24/7 about our own issues, but to learn to be selfless and understand that there's other people who need our help. Whatever we got going on in this life has to be on pause. When we go to camp, I always say this. When we go to camp, leave your issues at the house. Because right now we're in serving mode. It's time to help others. When we go inside the classroom, leave your issues at home. Unless you have a counsel or Shamak and Yawasap, then that can be handled outside the classroom. Every issue that you have, leave that at the house until you get home. And you deal with it accordingly. But when you step foot in this classroom, training, camp, remember that you're getting ready to serve and to help. All right. That was my last precept. That was my last precept on that. I hope you brothers and sisters were edified through this lesson. It's been something I've been heavily meditating on for a while now when it comes to the kingdom. It was inspired by Shamak, but the kingdom of heaven being with us. Just giving off certain examples of how you can help, the people that looks like me and you, which are God's chosen people, and, really to have a better character moving forward. Because a lot of brothers and sisters in this walk has fell. And instead of reconciling and repenting, or they may think that they did, they stood in that stench and they lost their purpose. And it affected people. Because if you fell, your fall can affect the next person the person next to you. Because you play an important role in this body. Or that person just loves you a lot. You was one of the people that they call 24/7. And because you fell, you can offend that person. You can make that person fall too as well. Or you can just honestly offend that person to where they have a form of resentment towards you. So your character matters the most. Remember integrity. Remember integrity.
And I just want to say one thing real quick.
What up?
A lot of people, a lot of Israelites, brothers and sisters, they confuse your duty and your reasonable service with your divine purpose and what you was born and created for in the Lord. And those two things are different. You know what I'm saying? What you were born to do, the Lord's plan for you and how you would serve comes through an unction, or comes through your gifts and talents that the Lord blessed you with. You have to go to the Lord and ask him, what is your purpose? And then upon asking your purpose in your office, for him to magnify that, but class can't, our curriculum, we do training. So, those things are your reasonable service, your duty, your obligation, right? Attendance. But that's not your purpose. It's not your purpose in the Lord. Your purpose could be, setting up youth programs. Your purpose could be setting up food pantries. Your purpose could be a teacher. Your purpose could be a counselor and a teacher and a guider and a developer. Your purpose could be instructing the youth through martial arts programs. You know what I'm saying? Your purpose could be a bunch of different things, health. We may have some health gurus in the camp, and they may have an unction on them to study health and then provide health services, holistic health services for our brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So your purpose is different. You know what I'm saying? Than your reasonable service and your duty.
One last scripture I forgot to bring out. It's a prayer. Sirach chapter 23. Read Sirach chapter 23. 1 through 6. This is one of my favorite scripture to read, and it's a reminder. I usually read this in the GNT too as well. So when you get the chance, read it in the GNT. But I'll say that after tonight's class, please read this verse up to verse 6. If you want to read the whole chapter, you can go ahead and do it. But please read this verse before bed and really meditate on the things that was said and move forward to be better than who you was yesterday. Go ahead, Brock.
Sirach chapter 23 and verse 1. Lord, Father and Governor of all my whole life, leave me not to their counsels, and let me not fall by them, who will set scourges over my thoughts, and the discipline of wisdom over mine heart, that they spare me not for mine ignorances, and it pass not by my sins. Lest mine ignorances increase, and my sins abound to my destruction, and I fall before mine adversaries. And mine enemy rejoice over me, whose hope is far from thy mercy. O Lord, Father and God of my life, give me not a proud look, but turn away from thy servants always a haughty mind. Turn away from me vain hopes and concupiscence, and thou shalt uphold him up that is desirous always to serve thee. Let not the greediness of the belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me. Give not over me thy servant and into an impudent mind.
That will close out.
This is Psalm chapter 119. This is Yad. Thy hands have made me and fashioned me. Give me understanding that I may learn thy commandments. They that fear thee will be glad when they see me, because I have hoped in thy word. I know, O Lord, that thy judgments are right, and that thou in faithfulness has afflicted me. Let, I pray thee, thy merciful kindness be for my comfort, according to thy word unto thy servant. Let thy tender mercies come unto me, that I may live, for thy law is my delight. Let the proud be ashamed, for they have dealt perversely with me without a cause. But I will meditate in thy precepts. And let those that fear thee turn unto me, and those that have known thy testimonies. Let my heart be sound in thy statutes, that I be not ashamed. In the name of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, the Wadah Yad, Aman. Amajim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shemir Shabbat,
Yahweh Shemir Shabbat.